$965 a month, 30 years, a broad index fund earning roughly what the stock market has returned over its history, $2,180,000. That number is the average all-in cost of owning a new car in the United States, just rerouted onto a different path. So, it is what we are going to do together. We are going to open up that $965 and look at every piece inside it, all 6 of them. We will find one piece that's quietly draining the most, and then we will run the other math, the honest version, the one we almost never look at before we sign. Because there is a cost hiding inside that number that we pay whether we drive the car or not. It never shows up on a bill. It hits hardest before we make the very first payment. We will get there, and once we see it, it's hard to unsee. I didn't grow up around any of this. My parents never invested and they never owned a car either. In our house, money was something to hold on to carefully, not something that could grow, and getting anywhere meant public transport. So everything I know, I had to learn on purpose. I've been investing for about 12 years now, and I spent 6 of them building software inside the financial world. And my very first car taught me the strangest lesson of all. I'd paid $2,000 for it. Then someone hit me, not my fault, and the repair cost more than the car was even worth. So the insurance company didn't fix it. They just handed me $4,000 and walked away. I was barely into my 20s and I had already learned that what a car costs and what it's actually worth are 2 completely different numbers. So when I booked the next one, I run the numbers first. I didn't want new, I just watched how fast the value disappears. I wanted reliable. I found a 10-year-old Mazda 6, Japanese, built to last, for around $7,000, and I paid in cash. No loan. I was 22, already thinking about the version of me with family one day, and about my parents who'd spent their whole life getting around without a car of their own. That was 10 years ago. I'm still driving the same Mazda, it never let me down, and I could replace it now. I just don't see the reason to. That's the lens I've looked at every car through since. We have 6 real costs inside the average car. The single one that does the most damage, we will save that one for a minute because it's worth it. And then the compound math, run straight without no thumb on the scale. Let's start with the number itself, $965 a month. That comes from the American Automobile Association, whose latest yearly study of what a car really costs breaks into 6 parts: depreciation, the finance charge on the loan, insurance, fuel, maintenance and tires, and taxes and registration. It is the first thing most of us get wrong. We think the cost of a car is the cost of getting the car. The price, the loan, the financing, but that's only about half of the story. The cost of the car itself, depreciation plus the finance charges, comes to only about half of that $965. The other half is simply running it. Fuel, around $160 a month, insurance around $140, then maintenance and tires and taxes and registration on top. Stack those up and they roughly match the cost of the car all over again. So the true cost of owning a car is about double the cost of buying one, and inside those 6 parts, one bar stands taller than all the rest, and it's the one that never shows up on a bill. That bar is depreciation. The car losing its value, it costs the average owner $4,334 a year, more than fuel and insurance combined. It's the single biggest piece of the whole 965, and the one that never sends a statement. And here is what surprised me when I first ran it. It hits hardest at the very beginning. A $50,000 car loses more than 10% of its value in the first month, before the first oil change. By the end of the first year, 20 to 30% is gone, on some models closer to 35%. Think about that. We can drive it carefully, garage it, never miss a payment, and thousands of dollars still evaporate while it sits in the driveway. This is the cost we pay whether we drive the car or not. That's the thing hidden inside the number. It doesn't arrive in the email, it's just quietly subtracted. Now to the costs climbing fastest. Insurance. It's up about 56% since January of 2022, more than half in about 4 years, and the reason traces back to something we don't usually connect to our monthly premium. The safety technology itself. The cameras, the radar, the sensors, they generally make cars safer, but they also make every repair more expensive. The same association studied this directly and found those systems can add up to 37.6% to a repair bill, and it adds up fast. A minor collision on a car loaded with that tech can run as high as $5,300 to fix, more than double what the same bump would cost on an older car without it. And there is a quite new line item: recalibration. Resetting all those sensors after even a small repair. In 2020 it showed up in about 5% of claims. Now it's in 26%, 1 in 4, adding around $500 each time. So the safety features we paid for on the sticker are part of what's pushing up the bill we pay every month to insure it. The more advanced the car, the more each small accident costs. It's also the one big car cost we can actually push back on, which is why every single year I call around and renegotiate mine before it renews rather than letting it roll over on autopilot. On a cost climbing this fast, staying loyal is the expensive choice. Now we still haven't run the alternative. That's where all of this is heading, and it's the whole reason for the breakdown. But before the model, one more layer, because what's happening across the car market right now shows just how big this has quietly become. Zoom all the way out. Americans now owe $1.68 trillion in car loans. That's larger than the country's entire credit card debt. And the loans keep stretching. In early 2026, almost 23% of new car loans run 84 months, 7 years or longer, an all-time high. Stretch the loan, shrink the monthly payment, and pay far more interest in the end. The rates aren't gentle either. Around 6.5% on a new car, over 11 on a used one, and for the weakest credit about 16, where a $20,000 used car can cost more than $9,000 in interest alone. And here is the part that worries me most. By the end of 2025, 5.2% of people with a car loan were at least 9 days behind on it. That's the highest rate since 2010, back in the depths of the financial crisis. This isn't a story about people making bad choices. It's what the math does when the average car crosses $50,000 and the whole system has quietly priced that in. So let's run it and let's keep the number deliberately low. Yes, that 965 includes depreciation, which is money the car loses, not cash we hand over each month. But for most of us who finance a car, the actual cash leaving the account every month, payment, insurance, fuel, a little maintenance, runs closer to 11 or 1200. So 965 isn't an exaggeration, it's the careful conservative number, so that's the one we will run. $965 every month into a broad index fund at roughly the market's historical 10% a year for 30 years. $2,180,000. And that's the floor. The honest number for most financial buyers is higher, because they are laying out more than $965 in cash every month. One thing I want to be fair about, this is one car's monthly cost compounded, not every car we will ever own. By most estimates, we will go through somewhere around 10 cars in a lifetime, close to $500,000 out of the door. The 2 million is simpler and sharper than that. It's the Shadow 1 car-sized debit casts over 30 years. The wealth we are quietly choosing not to build. So what do we do with this? Because I'm not here to say don't own a car. Most of us need one. The move is to be deliberate about where we step onto the value curve. Depreciation does its worst in the first years, that 20 to 30%. A car that's 2 or 3 years old has already had that loss absorbed by its first owner. We step in lower on the curve, on the flat part, and still get years of a perfectly good car. I went further than that myself. Mine was 10 years old when I bought it, from a brand I trusted to keep running long past that. The exact number of years isn't the point. The principle is. This is exactly how I'd model any decisions about money. The question was never car or no car. It's which part of the depreciation curve are we standing on? What's a real monthly number, and what does that number become if it compounds forward instead? That's an engineering question, not a moral one. 3 things to carry out of this. 1. The real cost of a car is the all-in number, not just the price of buying it. Roughly double the cost of the car alone, because running it costs about as much again as the car itself. 2. Depreciation is the biggest piece and the quietest, $4,334 a year before a single bill arrives. 3. That monthly cost run for 30 years is over $2 million of wealth we either build or don't. And one action. Before the next car decision, head to joãofreire.finance. I built a free compound interest calculator there for exactly this. Put in the real monthly cash, payment plus insurance plus fuel, set the years we had actually owned the car, and let it run. 5 minutes, that's the whole model right there in your hands. I'm genuinely curious about one thing. What does the all-in number look like for the car in your own drive right now? Add it up. Payment, insurance, fuel, and drop it in the comments. I want to see whether that national average really holds across all our different situations. We will dig into the best ones next time.